For real. Hey guys, what's going on? Yet another, me Jay, yet another edition, the 22nd edition of my WrestleMania review series, The Road to WrestleMania, where I review each and every WrestleMania on the road to this coming WrestleMania, WrestleMania 41. Now we're at WrestleMania 22. It takes place April the 2nd, 2006. The Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. This one, where we last left off, Triple H was defeated by Batista. And it seemed like the way that Triple H put over Batista, that was the end of Triple H's time in the main event at WrestleMania. But Triple H is God. Are you kidding me? He's not gonna take a back seat to anyone. He is back in the main event, but this time he is challenging John Cena for the WWE Championship. Now, you ask, did he win the Royal Rumble? No, he did not. um, the winner of the 2006 Royal Rumble, challenging for the WWE Championship, is Rey Mysterio. Now, after the unfortunate passing of Eddie Guerrero in 2005, Rey Mysterio had a lot of goodwill. People were really rooting for Rey because people found out and people learned that Rey and Eddie Guerrero were close friends in real life. So they figured, hey, we want to see Rey Mysterio do the impossible and win the World Heavyweight Championship, right? And do the right thing for Eddie, especially with one of the people that he'll be taking on in this triple threat match, Randy Orton. Randy Orton was really saying foul shit about Eddie Guerrero. He said, Eddie Guerrero's not in heaven, Eddie's in hell. Yeah, according to him. And that was super foul. So Rey Mysterio really wanted to avenge that. And then you have Kurt Angle coming in. As the champion, and Eddie wants to win the championship. So we have a triple threat match set up. Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, and Eddie Guerrero. Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton for avenging Eddie Guerrero and also winning the WWE Championship. Eddie Guerrero goes into the Hall of Fame this year as well. Pardon me, the World Heavyweight Championship. Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, and Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, and Randy Orton, World Heavyweight Championship. Eddie Guerrero goes into the Hall of Fame this year as well. Also going in this year, Vern Gagne, which is crazy to think. I mean, Chicago was his town. Chicago was a predominantly AWA town in the 60s and 70s, so that makes sense. But who would have thunk it? Nick Bockwinkel as well, going into the Hall of Fame this year, really Chicago themed. Inducted by Bobby the Brain Heenan. We started to see Bobby the Brain Heenan's throat cancer really get a hold of him at around this time, unfortunately. What other matches are we seeing for this WrestleMania? And who else is going in the Hall of Fame? One of the big ones going in the Hall of Fame, coming back to the WWE after 9 years of being gone. He had nothing to do with the WWE for 9 whole years. and that's Bret the Hitman Hart. Finally, he relented, and finally, he accepted the WWE Hall of Fame induction. So you started to see vignettes of Bret Hart, uh, going in, and he wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin to induct him, and that's that was fitting because the last time we were here in Chicago, that was the big double turn in the submission match, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was WrestleMania 13. So it was fitting that Stone Cold Steve Austin inducted Bret into the WWE Hall of Fame. But there was a confrontation between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan because recently Raw had moved back to the USA Network. And during the Raw homecoming, Hulk Hogan came out and he challenged Stone Cold Steve Austin to a match. Now, this match didn't end up happening, but uh, Stone Cold Steve Austin did respond at the Hall of Fame. He said that he found a plaque with Hulk Hogan's name on it and it was in the trash. So that was an interesting confrontation between the two at the Hall of Fame. Also, who is the Undertaker taking on? Well, the Undertaker will be competing in a casket match against Mark Henry. Now we're back to the streak matches being shitty. And also, we have the Money in the Bank ladder match. Again, the second edition of the Money in the Bank ladder match, and it will be won by Rob Van Dam. They're bringing back, because of the success, yeah, 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 David, you did. They're in the archives now. We just did that like not so long ago. WrestleMania 20 and 21. Hopefully you don't miss WrestleMania 23, guys. That's coming up next. They're doing this whole thing where they're bringing back um, ECW because of the success of ECW One Night Stand in 2005. There's an ECW revival. So WWE is coming out with the third brand of WWE programming, ECW. And to kick this off, the guy who never was able to capture the ECW championship, Rob Van Dam, will become the first ECW champion. And at ECW One Night Stand 2006 will defeat John Cena. But here at WrestleMania 22, he wins the Money in the Bank. So that's that for that. And we have an interesting storyline involving Trish Stratus, where Mickie James is her stalker, right? Our lesbian stalker. This is a lesbian storyline. She's in love with Trish Stratus. And you know this is true because she does this during the course of the match. I mean, what? Yeah, David's absolutely right. Trish Stratus versus Mickie James was a wonderful, great match. That was probably one of the best matches on the show. This pay-per-view did not have a lot of great matches, to be honest with you guys, in my opinion. The Undertaker's match was a dud. Mark Henry and The Undertaker really didn't have a lot of chemistry. Um, the Money in the Bank was okay. The inclusion of Ric Flair in the Money in the Bank was was kind of weird. But you knew Rob Van Dam was going to win. Because the way they were setting it up. And John Cena versus Triple H, I could have did it without it. You know what I mean? Honestly, Triple H was, people were sick of Triple H by this time. And also, another good match, the street fight between the street fight between Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. And when Shawn Michaels is on the ladder, he gives the DX sign. And Triple H also gives the DX sign during his match with John Cena, which are clues that DX will be returning to WWE television this year, 2006. This feud with Vince McMahon revolved around Vince McMahon uh, bringing up the Montreal Screwjob because Bret Hart's book was coming out and because Bret Hart was being mentioned on WWE TV again. Vince McMahon wanted Shawn Michaels to admit to his role in the Montreal Screwjob. That was basic. That was the basic gist of this storyline. But it was a good street fight. Once again, Shawn Michaels delivered at WrestleMania. That's why they began to call him Mr. WrestleMania. Big Show and Kane took on Carlito and Chris Masters. Bradshaw defeated Chris Benoit by pinfall for the United States Championship. Edge defeated Mick Foley. That's one thing. That was a good storyline going into this WrestleMania, was that Mick Foley was saying that he never had a WrestleMania moment. I mean, he was in WrestleMania 16. He was in the Fatal 4-Way. But according to him, he never had a WrestleMania moment. So he wanted to make a WrestleMania moment with Edge. And he did. I mean, Edge speared him through a flaming table. I mean, who can forget that? That was that was crazy. David says Trish Stratus has Nadia Comaneci versus Mickey James as Mickey Mantle for the Women's Championship. Yeah, yeah. So this pay per view, like I said, was a decent pay per view. The Boogeyman took on Booker T, which was weird. This was the Boogeyman's first and only appearance at WrestleMania. Booker T trained him, so I guess Booker T felt like he was going to give him, at least this little nod. Booker would have an amazing year in 2006, honestly. He would go on to win the King of the Ring and become King Booker. He's weird. He's there now with his wife, Charmel. So Uh, later on, the Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels feud would take on an interesting turn because Vince McMahon at Backlash would challenge Shawn Michaels to a handicap match. Vince and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God, right? And then eventually would lead to the reunification of DX and the McMahon's match against DX at SummerSlam 2006. Tori Wilson defeat Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight. So they're still doing guys this Playboy shit. Pretty soon we'll be moving into the PG era where all that will be gone, and they'll be collaborating with Scooby Doo and the Flintstones rather than Playboy. Equally as stupid, but in a different direction. But emerging from this WrestleMania is Rey Mysterio as World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Kurt Angle and Randy Orton, and John Cena making Triple H tap out by submission. And a brutal, brutal street fight between Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. Overall, this was one of the lackluster WrestleManias, in my opinion. What I liked about it, the cool thing was the setting. They had, how like on in arenas they have the jerseys of retired players for that specific team. Well, they have pictures of the WWE superstars all hanging from the rafters here. So that was cool. Rey Mysterio championship reign as World Heavyweight Champion was lackluster. They forced Vince McMahon's hand to do this. He didn't want to put the belt on Rey Mysterio. Honestly, he didn't like having as guys as small as Rey Mysterio being champions in WWE. But so he just made a fool out of him, having him face wrestlers that were much bigger than him, make him look like he won by the skin of his teeth. And it ends when he was defeated later on by Booker T, King Booker. And as far as John Cena will remain champion until he's injured. I mean, no, pardon me. He will lose the WWE Championship with interference from Edge at One Night Stand 2006, and then he will regain it, and he will remain champion again until he's injured in 2007. So this is the start of it. This match with Triple H is the start of the Super Cena era, where WWE fans become aggravated with John Cena. They start to chant Cena sucks. They start to turn on John Cena because Triple H's promos leading up to the match indicate that John Cena cannot wrestle, which is something that's no other opponent of any other wrestler ever said. Like nobody, none of Hulk Hogan's opponents, none of The Rock's opponents, none of Stone Cold Steve Austin's opponents, none of Bruno Sammartino's opponents, Pedro Morales' opponents ever said that they couldn't wrestle. This is something Ultimate Warrior's opponents never. This is something unique with John Cena that Triple H is pointing out. So this is when it starts. The fans start to turn on John Cena. But I feel like rather than have John Cena versus Triple H at this Mania, why not have John Cena versus Edge? Because John Cena versus Edge, they were great rivals this year, 2006, but they never went one-on-one in a WrestleMania. They went a triple threat match at WrestleMania 25, which we will get to, but they never went one-on-one with each other. So that was a missed opportunity, in my opinion. And as far as the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship, it could have just been Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio, honestly, a one-on-one match. They had success with the triple threat concept at 20, so they continued to run with it. And to me, it wasn't that good. Overall, like I said, this one was a lackluster one. I give this one a C-. There are not, other than a Mickey James match and the street fight, there weren't many moments from this WrestleMania that I really remember, vividly and fondly. And Rob Van Dam winning the Money in the Bank. This is a skippable one, honestly. So Next WrestleMania is Detroit, WrestleMania 23, and it will feature Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump, the future president of the United States, the current president of the United States, will be in at WrestleMania. David, with his booking again, says, and once again, I agree with him. At WrestleMania 20, Trish Stratus should turn. Well, she did turn heel. She did. Uh, she, she turned on Chris Jericho, David, but he's saying that she should have turned heel and been in the triple threat match with Molly, Holly, and Victoria in the hair match. That would have been cool. I mean, we got to see Molly Holly get her hair shaved anyway, but it would have been cool to have Trish Stratus in there too. But unfortunately, this is one of this is we're saying goodbye for at least a little while to a few people at this WrestleMania. I believe I'm not sure. Let me look. Um, I forget, but I believe this. I believe this WrestleMania will be the last WrestleMania for a little while for Trish Stratus. I think until WrestleMania 27. It will be the last WrestleMania for Kurt Angle for a long while because Kurt Angle will, in 2006, leave the WWE uh, and go to TNA, where he will have a hell of a run in TNA, and he won't return to the WrestleMania the WrestleMania review series until 2017. I mean, no, excuse me, 2000. He returned 2017 to WWE, but he won't return to WrestleMania until 2018, where he will be in the main event in a mixed tag match with Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie. So that's it. We're saying goodbye for a little while to Kurt Angle, and we're saying goodbye for a long while to Kurt Angle, and we're saying goodbye to Trish for a little while. So that's it, guys. On to Detroit, On to Detroit. WrestleMania all grown up with future President Donald Trump in the main event. Just saying that is crazy. That somebody, well, not the actual main event, not the last match, but one of the prominent events. Speaking of head shavings, a hair versus hair match, Battle of the Billionaires. Donald Trump with a wrestler, Vince McMahon with another wrestler, and they will be the cornermen for each of their guys as we head to Detroit for a WrestleMania that holds the buy rate. It held the buy rate for several years as the most purchased WrestleMania in WWE history until WrestleMania 28. But WrestleMania 23, huge buy rate. And of course, President Trump will attribute this to him. It was all me. It was all me. I was I was at WrestleMania and I did a tremendous job. A tremendous job. I was tremendous. I was. It was because of me. I had the best main event. I shaved Vince's head. Me, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Bobby Lashley. WrestleMania before me was a disaster, an absolute disaster. Regardless of your politics, sometimes you gotta love President Trump. He makes you laugh. You know? But yeah, on to Detroit, WrestleMania 23. Donald Trump comes to WrestleMania. And also, two big main events. Batista taking on The Undertaker. Finally, The Undertaker gets another formidable opponent for his streak. And John Cena takes on HBK. Shawn Michaels defends the WWE Championship against him. So from beating one member of DX, he goes on to beat another member of. He goes on to face another member of DX. See you in 2007, guys. Peace. Thank you, David, for contributing.